I want to talk today about having your own practice area, how important it is to keep everything neat and organized. The condominium that I'm living in right now has extremely small rooms. So I have one of the bedrooms as my office, but my desk is full of the computer and bookshelf and stuff. I have an area that I can practice, but it is not a dedicated practice area, and that bothers me. At our apartment, we had much larger rooms. I had my desk and then a whole separate table. It was a 6-foot long table that was just for the magic practice area. I had a bookshelf for my main books. I have tons of books and even more PDFs, but sometimes it's nice to thumb through an actual book. I had a bookshelf. I had a practice mat, one of the close-up pads. I had the props I was using at that time stacked neatly. It was a very nice table to do the practice. I set up this mirror. It's a 3-panel mirror, so I can look, put it in front of me. It's like if you've been in the changing room, you have that 3-panel mirror so you can see all around you. When you're doing tricks, you need to make sure what the audience sees. You're looking from this way, and that's all you can really see. Now you can set up a camera to film it, but during practice, it's easier to use this mirror. One mirror shows me from the front, and the other 2 show from the sides. It's a very nice setup. I've had this particular mirror for about 15 years. I didn't expect it to last that long. I've moved halfway across the world, and the mirror did not break. I was amazed. I shipped it all over. So when I set that up, I can do my practice, and I can see the angles, because you want to know what the audience sees from the front and the side. Generally, you don't want people behind you in any case. There are places you have to work surrounded, and you've got to change up your tricks accordingly. I have this triple mirror setup. I built this many, many years ago, and it helps during practice. Let's say I've got a sponge ball, and I want to work on how to clip it in my hand. See, like right here, I can see, obvious if that's clipped incorrectly. But when you clip it, and it's good on top, the mirror shows you the front and the 2 side views for like the audience view. So you can learn how high you can go or how far sideways. You see the ball shows up there. The ball shows up over there. So as you're working and you're moving around, you can see if it flashes. So you do the same thing when you're doing card tricks. If you start flashing the cards, something flashes, you can see in the mirror. It helps me practice, because otherwise I get in the habit of just looking here, looking at the top of my hand or looking where I'm working, and I don't see what's going on from the audience point of view. And then when I do the trick for people, I'm so busy looking at my hand and my cards or my trick, whatever, I'm not paying attention to the people. You've got to be able to do it without looking down at your hand. When you pick something up, you have to be able to clip it and know you're not flashing on the sides or on the top. It's a great way to practice. Now what this is 3 mirrors that are just put together. They've got the clips on the top and the sides for however you want to hang it. I made sure and bought one that had the clips on the sides, and I used picture hangers. It's the metal picture hanger and some wire. This was a temporary connection, and I'm going to come back later and fix it up nicer. That was the plan. I built this about 15 years ago. The only thing that's happened is the tape that it came with has gotten old, and I've had to replace some of the tape. I never came back and cleaned this up. This was going to get string or a better wire, something. And I've had it for 15 years, and I've never gone back and cleaned it up because it works. So it doesn't matter. It's not pretty, but nobody looks at the back. You might notice this has a gap because you've got to be able to fold it so you can see it, but also it has to be able to fold for storage. This one is a longer gap. so it can close up like a book. Now I have this, and I have had this bubble wrap for, this has got to be 12 or 13 years old. I wrapped it in a bubble wrap, and I put it on a bookshelf. This has worked for me. Like I said, this is 15 years old. Another good thing to have is the Magic Book. It's a notebook, blank page notebook, and I keep most of my notes on the computer, documents, as most people probably do. But I had a friend that used to make the paper hat tears. So you get that paper, tear up the paper, wad it up, unfold it. That's a big party hat. He used to make those professionally, and he sold them to the magic stores and at magic conventions and stuff. So he made very nice, really fancy, top quality paper hat tears. So he sat me down and taught me how to do it. So not only did I take notes, but I'm drawing pictures, because when it gets into the cuts and the folds, it was a little particular and it would be really hard to describe it, but I could draw the pictures. So now I have this as a reference. You keep this book and write all your magic tricks in it. And I don't know, like I said, we keep everything on the computer, but sometimes writing it down just helps me remember. And then drawing the diagrams, it helps me remember it more. And it's a little more personal. It's kind of nice. You meet with other magicians and y'all kind of look at each other's books and stuff. It's probably just the old guys. I don't know if the new guys do this, but I like it. I think it's good, and it helps me study, helps keep me on track. You don't need a dedicated practice space, although it would be nice if you had it. Most people don't have the room for a magic room or the magic desk. I did for a while and I loved it. I would like to get back to that. We're designing another house, and if we build it, it's going to have a whole big section for the magic. Yeah, that's going to be a while. Hey, we can dream, but you need an area that you can work, hopefully undisturbed, because when you're practicing, you're just doing it over and over and over. A lot of times, if you're doing a French drop, you're trying to learn how to do a particular move, you sit there and you're even just watching TV and just practice it. You got to make sure and kind of pay attention, because you're getting muscle memory. You keep just doing it over and over and over. Some things you need to practice in the mirror, and you don't want people coming in bothering you all the time while you're practicing. Practice is very important. Performance is fun, but you've got to do the practice or the performance is going to suffer. And as I said, for the real repetitious movements, you can sit in front of the TV and just practice, whatever little drop or sleight you're trying to learn. Actually, once you learn it, I like to practice in front of my three-way mirror to learn the move. Then, if you're watching TV or something while doing it, it's good practice, because when you're doing the trick, you want to be looking at your audience and engaging them and doing the trick over here without watching yourself do it. So if you're watching TV while you practice and learn it, it helps you when you start dealing with the audience, and you can do the trick without staring at your hands. They're going to be burning your hands anyway. You don't need to do it too. The more you look around, the more they look around. If you're staring at your hands, so are they. So get a nice practice area, dedicated practice area if you can. But I understand a lot of us don't have the space for that. Practice as often as you can, and you've got to do it over and over and over. Hundreds and hundreds of times until the move, whichever move you're learning, just becomes second nature. Your muscles have to just know what to do. So have fun. Keep practicing. For more detailed instructions and pictures, please visit the blog at freemagicfun.com. Keep practicing.